Welcome back to another episode of the Philosophy of Chillin. I'm your host, Download to Connect, and welcome back to another episode. I've been fighting talking about this topic for quite some time now. I had it written down in my notebook. I just don't have my notebook on me at the moment. However, I've been averting this topic because, excuse me, I just didn't feel like I was the most pertinent degree expert on it. And I'm still not, But what I do know is this perspective has to be said, and it's above me. And it's detrimental for me not to speak on it because that's disrespecting the agreement that I have with the divine and being a vessel utilized on this earth. So, with that being said, today's topic is revolving around love. How do you get through love? How do you understand through love? What is love and definition of it versus what we've been given? But what also makes that definition true, even though it's been depicted and misconstrued in a multitude of ways, going down different avenues. What do I start and where do I do? And what do I do? I guess going to the definition first, which was the hardest thing for my humanly body to feel comfortable and confident speaking on. Because again, I'm not the most degreed individual, but the things that I'm saying truly come from a spiritual level. And what I have to say in regards to the definition of love and what that means and what I understand it to be is the acknowledgement of a soul and how it is agreed to be coexisting within the progression or learning lessons that one, two, or multiple of souls need in order to achieve the things that the divine have told them to do. That's how I would define it. And I don't really see that quite often, which is interesting to me because love is a very powerful entity. And if you don't see it, have it, or want to grab it, even those words alone can be misleading, along with the physical actions. Because it takes you out of your body in multiple instances and can do that same thing consistently, depending on if you're with the appropriate person or body. And I find that to be so interesting because love is powerful not just, because you still have what it is. Like, what it is, how I define what love is, which to me is connected to the soul and the spirit of any person or body. Because if you really looked at something that has died, there's like this darkness in their eyes because the soul has been severed. Everything else remains. And that's where the decaying process comes in from, which is, its own separate thing. But essentially, those eyes have lost their light. And even if you were the most trigger warning for those that it may affect depression, or who have a connection to it. But even if you live the most terrible, depressive life or situation, when you pass away, even if your light was darkened through the things that you experienced, there's still a difference between living and not having that be there anymore. And love is connected to that, regardless of how hollow one may feel, because that ability to move and open your eyes, even if it's underneath a bridge or something, that also holds the capacity to acknowledge, empathize, and recognize what love is if one's external and internal body allow it. And what I mean by that is someone internally can recognize it, but externally their circumstances refuse to have that even come close to happening in actuality. And there are some circumstances where, externally, internally, it can be recognized, and there are places where you can find it, but as an entity, decisions still have to be made depending on the circumstances that one is placed in. So, depending on that person, even if externally and internally they can recognize it and have opportunities to find it, it's about their decision. And that's where I found a lot of scrutiny because the definition of love, it doesn't have just one understanding attached to it. It has multiple depending on who you ask and the experience that they have had and so on and so on. And it's interesting because I guess the reason why I'm talking about it today, and I hope this is why, but this is just the things that are coming to my mind. And a lot of what's happened on a positive and negative aspect and spectrum is derived from the manipulation of what love can pull out of somebody and the heart that God has given them. And I can't say it's upsetting, but for those that have safe versions of love in their life, it can be understood a little bit more as to how deep that recognition truly goes. Because even on a negative aspect, if somebody has unhealthy displays of love, or what has been called someone else's version of love, even though love is supposed to be safe, it's supposed to be welcoming because it's connected to the spiritual making of a person. It's connected to the two things. One can say they don't love, or it is most commonly associated to one who has no love based on the ability or commitment to taking that light away from another and having it affect you without even you recognizing that it is. And it's a give and take because there are the surface level aspects of it where you can make jokes depending on the situation you're in. And also those jokes are a credit are building the aspects of what you understand to be true of the journey that you're currently going through, of trying to accept the versions of love that you're wanting and being presented within your life's journey. So in trying to find that, it's interesting because I've seen people that associate manipulative tendencies and actions and habits, and have subliminally allowed those same mentally agonizing, emotionally frustrating things to create an avenue that secludes them from understanding where to go to next. And when you experience pain, trauma, even excitement, acknowledgement, acceptance in this realm of love, it's really so many tunnels I can go down, but honestly and truthfully, it's a constant give and take in trying to understand how to navigate. It's a daily thing, just like you waking up and breathing, because essentially it's about the choices that you make and that you're acknowledging as you make your steps along the way. And every single one of those steps will be frustrating. And it will test you on the things that you actually want to achieve. Like, what do you actually want to achieve? Is it just what you deem to be true, or is it a level at which you are able to recognize what others are asking from you and also be adaptable to integrate and welcome those things in your life while also still standing firm in what you know is for you, but accepting and just, welcoming what is true for others too. And a lot of the times that's missing. It's missing. And there have been so many actions and words and what have you, a lot of it formed under the name and mission and vision of an aspect that falls underneath an umbrella associated to or directly related to love. And what somebody recognizes and how somebody recognizes that to be true for not just themselves, but what they want you to think too. And I can get specific, but we're gonna be here all day long, for hours actually. And y'all would have to let me know if you're ready for that conversation. And in what ways you're ready to have it, because to try to aim on getting through the different episodes and cycles that one may go through in the under the umbrella of love in general, it involves checking yourself as well. And you can make a decision that will hurt. Not just you, but another individual, platonically, romantically, and that's another thing. It's not just one dimensional. And there's a gap between its entirety being fully revealed and conveyed and practiced and also relayed to other generations and what have you, because with as much of what we do surrounding the premises of doing things out of the love one understands to be true, no one is saying that understanding is wrong, but what I am saying is that as you try to walk in the actions and process the emotions of what love can make you feel, especially if you fall head over heels, and in order to do these things, you have to be real with you and how you feel. Be honest. And also be honest in what you're physically doing too. Because your internal goals may be one thing, but your external habits are another. And you can grow through it, or you can apply wisdom to not have to physically do it in order to understand and grow without having to compromise your journey and the ones that are involved in it too. I'm still learning how to articulate myself. within this realm as well. And that's another reason why I didn't really want to talk about this. But I believe this is the start of multiple conversations that will proceed from it, because it is boundless. And the scrutiny that some of that boundlessness gets, it doesn't paint the picture of what I understand to be true from it. Because, yeah, you can manipulate it, but in recognizing one's intention within this emotion, and honestly, it's not even just an emotion, it's more powerful than that. But being able to navigate and respond to the things that you feel from that, honestly and truthfully, it's a test of the will that you're willing to exude in the life that God has given you. And it exposes the choices that you make when things get tough or uncomfortable. And under this umbrella, there are seasons and permanence of people placed specifically to show you where you can either grow from, grow into, or stay in the cycle that could potentially generate the same results or environment or what have you. And one thing I do recognize that I've always utilized in each cycle that I've been in relation to just love in general, informing not my definition of it, but how I communicate it to other people. It's not just about you, but about what you see in the other person too, and at what level that really means to you. Because even if one is in a bad season and you know you're responding in detrimental ways, even if it hurts, are you still able to walk away respectfully before you do anything crazy that could create even more trauma? And these are some of the things and questions that I ask myself too, because it's a constant growth pattern. That's why it's so fucked up in here. Like, love is crazy, yo. And it shows. But that's why I don't see it just on a surface level. It's soulful, bro. Like, there are patterns of generations where it's like, oh shit, really? So, honestly, as a way to kind of inspire the next conversation around this topic, what are some situations that you would define shaped what you understand to be true about love and how you walk in it in actuality too? And that's a question for me as well, because that's something I have to think on. Because in order for me to speak on this, I also have to speak on where I have gotten this perspective. And outside of just saying that this is the divine speaking through me, spiritually and physically both have to be explained. And I have to be able to understand how to do that, not just for myself, but for the people listening too. And that's what I'm going to do, because love, in order to get through it, you have to see yourself at the best and worst times. Even if you're trying to ignore it and run away from it. So until you're able to put the focus on you and understand that that's not your range. It's not just about you. It's about the people around you and how willing you are to accept what they understand too and walk in it in your life to be or coexist in theirs as well. And there are definitions, there are maybe questions that I'm not thinking about, but what I did want to communicate today was that it's not just one way. And hopefully as time goes on, that aspect will slowly begin to unravel and reveal itself to you. Because, yeah, there is love and the definitions and depictions that have been circling around for generations, but have you looked at it in association to your actual soul and digested what you have had to go through to grow and even understand what you know to be true? So that's it for me today. I know I've been away, and honestly, I have been trying to get my mind right on how I want to move forward with this platform and with other things around me. And I'm still figuring it out. I'm always going to be figuring it out, but I am committed to continue focusing and falling down to get back up and try again, and aiming towards communicating and exuding what I know to be true presently while I've been given the breath to do it. So with that being said, there's more to come. I don't know how, but I'm staying tuned, and I hope you do too. I could be here on this couch all day to break down this topic of love even further, but I gotta go, and I know you do too. So I've been Done Love to Connect, and I'm out of here. Peace.